A Silent Voice, directed in 2016 by Naoko Yamada, is a beautiful film that perfectly captures existential dread, anxiety, depression, and loneliness. But more than those things, it teaches about understanding, connection, self awareness, and self growth. It's a movie that, even if you don't like anime, you can appreciate the film for what it is. The film has a very strong and tough themes such as teenage depression and suicide, and explains those situations that can lead to these themes beautifully. The movie opens with our main character Shoya Ishida going through what we later find out is his last day until he has a moment of reservation where he comes to terms with his life and decides to make good with an old friend he used to bully when he was in elementary school. The movie then cuts to Shoya's childhood where we're introduced to the kid version of the remaining characters in the movie.
Put us to down. Talking about my generation. Just because we get around. Talking about my generation. Things they do look awful.
In this part of the film, Shoya is a prideful young kid who is very popular and hangs out with Kazuki and Kizuki during most of the flashbacks, with Uno as a girl who sits next to him who clearly likes him.
Why don't you all fade away? Don't try and dig what we all.
They all bully Shoko, who is the new deaf classmate, into eventually leaving the school after Shoya makes Shoko's ears bleed after he ripped out a hearing aid. This was the turning point for Shoya in his popularity as a child, as everyone would push him away and make him the outcast we eventually know and love by the end of the movie.
お前やりすぎ。うわー、誰がこんなことしたの？ひどい。私が代わりに消してあげるね。はい、できた。
Kazuki and Kizuki would then bully Shoya back and scribble graffiti on his desk just like he did to Shoko, which he pretended to erase when she came into the room. Even after all the bullying, Shoko stayed after class to clean his desk just like she perceived him doing to her on the chalkboard. This scene truly is one of the best in the movie as it continues to portray Shoya as an awful child who just wants someone to discipline him, and Shoko who just wants to make as many friends as possible and be kind.
俺の机で何してんの？
In this emotional scene, Yamada uses extremely good paneling with character placement and camera placement to portray both emotions by both Shoya and Shoko to portray this scene beautifully.
なんだよ。言いたいことあんなら言えよ。いっつもわけわかんねえ顔しやがって。ムカついてんだろ。なあ、言えよ。って何すんだよ。なんなんだよ。
In this mini fight scene, when Shoya falls to the ground, this signifies that Shoya is slowly losing his mind as he's becoming the outcast that we know later on in the movie. Shoko being on top during the fight signifies that she is trying to overcome her disability that she tries to deal with the entire movie.
西宮入るぞ。あったあった。充電があるか。こっから花火見える。あ、西宮いるじゃん。西宮。西宮。ちょっと待って。何してんの？西宮。西宮。西宮。
The score really brings into light the overall themes of the movie by conveying strong and emotional music during some of the highest emotional points of the movie. In one of the highest emotional points in the film, we get one of the most powerful scenes I've ever seen in any movie. Not only is this scene perfectly directed and animated to leave you on your seat by showing Shoko disappear behind the curtains, but also the music they made is a blend of suspenseful, turning into panic, then back into suspense as it cuts all sounds. But then sad, as Shoya hits the water, becoming unconscious. This scene The development between the two characters is something that is special, that you can only sit back and watch with happy tears falling down your face. The character development of Shoko to finally, after the fireworks scene, tell herself that she wants to live is something that can only make you smile. A girl throughout her entire life hated herself, not only being different than everyone, but having a disorder that did nothing but make everything harder for her. Between making friends, learning how to sign language, and then struggling to talk and make sense, she has been through hell and finally tells herself that she wants to live. This scene is another example of how powerful a score can be in a movie. The music here portrays a sense of hope with a light, upbeat piano racing with Shoko as she wakes up and goes to the bridge where they hang out to try and find Shoya. Right after Shoko reaches the bridge, Shoya also wakes up. Yamada uses an excellent way of connecting the two characters with a jump cut to be able to show us as the audience that these two characters are closer than ever before and that they feed off of one another to help the other one get better with their own depression and their own problems. The light upbeat piano here, just like the previous scene, is a way and a sign that there is hope in the future for both of our characters. In this scene, Yamada again uses excellent paneling and camera shots to portray the emotion between both Shoko and Shoya as they both talk to each other and express that they want to help the other live and not hate themselves anymore. This scene was the turning point for both characters, as this was their moment they both realized they want to live, not just for themselves, but for each other. The development Shoya went from being a popular bully to an outcast, then fighting through his depression by the cause of his past self to now someone he is happy with, is excellent writing from Yamada. Throughout his entire teenage to early adult life, he has lived with his head down and X's across everyone's face due to his depression. In the final scene, he leaves from the hospital to go to the school fair, where he lifts his head up and begins to see everyone's face for the very first time since his childhood. The strength emotionally of this scene, along with the Silent Voices OST called Lit, brings together for the most powerful scene I've ever personally seen in any movie.
Yeah.